Alright, let's talk about Diablo IV Season 11. Some time ago, I made a video about Season 9, and one would say it should have been followed by Season 10 because it's a natural way of doing things. Problem was, Season 10 was pretty much the same as Season 9. Same stuff, different gimmick. Sure, chaos stuff was kinda interesting and Infernal Horde rework was not that bad, but at the end of the day, it was nothing revolutionary, so to speak. In fact, I managed to finish the seasonal journey in 24 hours, and that was it. That tells you more than enough about the state of Season 10. There was no incentive to do anything else. I did what I had to do to complete the seasonal journey, and I just deleted the game to make space for some other stuff. It wasn't even worth making a video about it. Well, fast forward to December 12th, and there's a huge drop on the new expansion and Paladin class as well. And to be honest, I was thinking going full pedal to the metal with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, but what the hell? Let's see what's going on in Diablo 4. Considering I didn't want to shell out $50 for the pre-order because I'm much more resilient to the FOMO stuff that Blizzard very often throws at us so I can play Paladin as soon as possible, I decided to play Companion Druid. Truth to be told, I already decided before the Paladin drop that I would play the Druid, but even if that wasn't the case, I knew Paladin would be OP. Spoiler alert, it is very OP. And that would just reduce my playtime for me. Because if you can steamroll over whole content in such a short notice, then what's the point of playing the game? Basically, that's how it always was in the previous seasons, and that's why Season 10 took me only 24 hours to complete. So instead, I did what I call testing the grounds in terms of, do I see myself playing this season long enough in order to shell money at the pre-order so I can roll an alt, in this case Paladin class. And even if Paladin didn't hit, I would definitely think whether or not I want to play another class alongside with my main, so that's also something to take into consideration. One thing I gotta say, and let me be very clear about this particular matter. The whole thing with pre-order now and get both expansions and new class for $50 while I already own the first expansion is such a shitty move. I bought the first expansion on launch, might have even pre-ordered it, I really don't remember anymore. But what I'm trying to say here is, instead of Blizzard be like, we might actually reward this loyalty a bit. Instead, you get pretty much male reproductive organs straight into your face, and that's about it. So, like I said, feels extremely shitty. Then again, it's Blizzard we're talking about, so it shouldn't come as a surprise. Okay, rant over. Just for the reference, I primarily played Companion Druid, and at the time of this recording, my Paragon level was 243, and I played a total of 48 hours. Now, onto the game itself. Actually, I'm gonna talk about something else, and that's game stability. It is still very questionable. If I would be honest, it's basically dog shit. Don't take my word for it, you can actually see it in this footage that I have recorded. I still get random lag spikes, rubber banding, all that stuff. It's not like I have these issues because I'm playing on a potato PC, fact being, this is server issue on Blizzard's side, and yet again, the issues are present. It's especially noticeable in Nightmare Dungeons, as you can see in the footage, but also in the pit, where I'm experiencing a slideshow or even several second freezes. Again, you can see it in the footage. I don't think I need to say anything else on this topic, to be honest, and knowing Blizzard, this won't be fixed anytime soon. Speaking about the technical stuff, I have also noticed it takes some time for the game to close. The longer you play, the longer it takes for the game to actually close, like a proper application closing, stuff like that. The other day, for example, I had a relatively long session and the game was closing for a good minute or even more. I mean, what the hell is even that? How is this even possible? They really need to fix these things because this is just ridiculous. This is by far the only game I have witnessed this thing happening, and it has to be some kind of a issue with the server or whatever, because this just doesn't make any sense. Or maybe the game is eating RAM like there's no tomorrow, and because all the RAM has been eaten out, because obviously we have memory leaks, I wouldn't be surprised. It takes so long for the application to close. So yeah, this is basically what we are dealing with. Right, so technical issues aside, what is the season all about? Well, Season 11 gives us a lot of reworked features as well as the new ones. So let's start with the new ones. We have Divine Gifts and Sanctification. So Divine Gifts form the core seasonal power mechanic. These are blessings from the angel Hadriel that provide bonuses to combat, loot, XP, and farming efficiency. Powers come in a corrupted form, which means higher difficulty but extra reward, or purified form, which is a bit safer and you get better bonuses. It's the same gimmick like in Season 10 with Chaos perks, but you get 8 of them instead of 4. They can be leveled up to level 5, which gives you more buffs as well as reasons to farm them. The benefits of upgrading them at level 5 are quite significant. Sanctification, on the other hand, is a final upgrade tier for all your items. You go to the Angelic Forge, you slap your item inside, and then that's about it. You cannot modify the item anymore, but you might get really cool bonuses, legendary powers, or even powers from the mythics themselves. So make sure you put all upgrades on the item, otherwise you're gonna get played. And trust me, when that happens, you're just gonna hate yourself a lot. Don't ask me how I know. The way I see it, the seasonal theme is not that bad, particularly when it comes to sanctification. See, this sanctification thing is basically a slot machine. You have no clue what you might get. For example, like I told before, the Shaco power can end up on your item and you're winning so much. So that alone can motivate you to play the game in order to have something super powerful on your item. Thing is, the problem with sanctifying items is the fact that you might not get decent enough ancestrals that might fit your build. For example, my experience is that I find one decent ancestral item once in a blue moon or so. And by the time you find the item that is actually pretty good, you might lose interest. This is especially noticeable with amulets. Good luck finding a decent amulet anytime soon. So in that sense, I don't really see myself sanctifying a lot of items. Like I said, you might sanctify 2 or 3 items for a single slot, and that would be that. So whatever you get, that's about it. This problem is also very evident with sanctifying mythics. I 100% do not see myself doing it unless I'm going to stick with one class only. If I want to try other classes, sanctification is not an option. Usually, most of us will either use the Shroud or one of those mythical helmets, and if I want my Druid and Paladin to use it at the same time, this is impossible because of the gems. Like I said, once you sanctify an item, that's it, you cannot modify anything, particularly taking out the gems and putting new ones in. This situation might motivate you to play different builds for the same class, but not several different classes. That being said, the longer you play, the higher chance for you to get more mythics. So I reckon the sanctification thing is pretty much Blizzard motivating you to play more, and frankly, I don't see that as a bad thing. The real question here is, are the seasonal mechanics and new rework mechanics enough for someone to keep playing the game, or not? Besides the fact that you want to have 3 Shakers or 4 Grandfathers. The next sort of new seasonal mechanic is the return of classical bosses, or as we know them, the lesser evils. Each integrated in a specific mode. 3 of them were already known to us, Andariel, Duriel and Belial, while the 4th one is the newest addition, which is Asmodan. I say sort of new seasonal mechanic, but it's more of a rework than a new mechanic, so I'll let it slide. Let's start with Asmodan since he is the new boy. He is the new world boss, can spawn in multiple zones like you would expect it, or can be summoned in a specific spot in Zarbinzet. Nothing fancy about him, I reckon it's a good addition to the world boss roster. Then we have the rest of the bosses that have been reworked, but not in a way that you might think. So, in addition to their usual layers, they now can spawn in different modes. Duriel can be summoned in Helltide instead of Blood Maiden, and Dariel can appear or be summoned in Undercity, while Belial appears in the pit. All of them drop corrupted essences, which then can be used to summon Asmodan in a specific spot in Zarbinzet for more loot. As far as Asmodan goes, his corrupted essence can only be used when he spawns as a world boss to unlock a chest. The essences that these bosses drop also as purified versions, albeit rarely, and for what purpose they can be used, well, I'll let you figure it out on your own. Anyway, I see this change as a good thing. This is a very good way of pushing players in a direction that they might not usually go towards. In other words, now you have a reason to engage with mechanics of the game that you previously didn't. For example, in my mind, going to the Undercity is something I rarely do. Now, however, I have a reason, particularly because I can earn lots of obols while doing Undercity thanks to Divine Gift, which allows me to earn them. I suppose the only thing that I have issue here with the new stuff is not including Nightmare Dungeons in the same manner. Yes, they are seeing a bit more action than before, but I still feel like it's not enough. Then again, seeing what they are doing here gives me hope they will probably continue in the same manner. Maybe in the future they might put Blood Maiden as an end boss for the Nightmare Dungeons, where she can drop all kinds of specific loot. Season 11 also brings several reworks. For starters, tempering has been changed and it seems for the better. Now you can choose the affix you want on items instead of random rolls, but you can only have one instead of two like we previously had. However, it can be changed indefinitely and it can become a critical one as well. In other words, it can become a greater affix. So pretty much you just keep rerolling until you get what you want, provided you have the necessary materials to do so. Masterworking now raises item quality, boosting base stats. When you achieve maximum quality, it allows you to roll a capstone bonus for a greater affix. And since we are talking about item affix changes, now you have 4 instead of 3 per item. This season also introduces a new defense changes. This new change is called toughness, and it's some kind of a aggregate of our old defense stats, showing effective HP against all damage types. This is the stat I don't really understand. More to the point, why don't we have more explanation in-game how this thing works? I mean, tooltips are a thing, so why are we not using them here? This new toughness thing gives me attack power vibes, which basically means it's pointless and meaningless as an aggregate stat. Apparently, armor cap or resistance cap doesn't exist anymore. You can stack these things forever, or maybe you can hit diminishing returns with it. Who knows? It doesn't really say in the game, so might as well be the case. Which leads me to believe there might be a cap, but you can't realistically hit it? I really don't have a clue. There are people who are explaining this in depth as usual, but when you see it for the first time, which is the approach I'm taking here, it's just silly, made-up stat that is basically pointless. Regardless of this new toughness crap, stuff can still one-shot you, and I don't mean big giga mega uber boss attack. I'm mostly referring to the stuff like that explosion power that monsters have, you know, the big red circle on the floor that charges up and then explodes. I always hated that. You can't make a tanky character unless stuff is broken or overpowered. See Paladin for more reference. It's a shame because every single class is all about damage, and more damage, while survivability is an afterthought. All that matters is that you kill stuff faster before they can even react to you. It's really a shame, and I was hoping that Paladin might be something along the lines of, look, I'm mega tanky, I can take a hit or two, but apparently that's not the case. I don't know why, mostly because either it's broken, as in overpowered, or because nobody really cares about these tanky archetypes anymore. Right. Next thing that has been changed are the healing potions. They are now percentage based and instant, which automatically regenerates every 30 seconds. And Fortify was changed as well, from damage reduction to a temporary life reservoir for healing over time. One rework that I'm very pleased with is the seasonal rank rework. Now it rewards players with skill points, smoldering ashes, cosmetics, and paragon points. I really like this concept since it takes you a bit of effort more than in previous seasons to complete all of them. That's exactly what I was saying all the time. We need something that prolongs your time in the game, and this is just the right thing. Speaking of prolonging your time in the game, we also see the return of capstone dungeons. Not in the same format like before, but same in spirit, I would say. You need to complete them in order to progress to higher difficulty, alongside with your progress in the pit. I really don't have an opinion about this. I guess it's okay. That's basically what I could say about them. Finally, the monsters have been reworked as well. Apparently now they are smarter because Blizzard has completely reworked enemy AI. They can dodge more often, reposition strategically, and make better use of terrain. Each enemy type now fulfills clearer combat roles. Also, more than 20 new affixes have been added, many of which alter approach to combat. Elites now can summon minions that inherit parts of their powers, while champion groups gain new synergies. The only thing that I have noticed is that they have become more annoying since they have 4 powers to utilize against you. I don't say this as a bad thing, on the contrary. You gotta think a bit how to approach stuff unless you play the Paladin. Good thing I didn't start with that class, otherwise I wouldn't even notice this change. In terms of endgame, stuff is still pretty much the same. Farm boss materials, do uber bosses, do pit for leveling glyphs, that kind of stuff. So yeah, you still collect materials, you still kill the same bosses in their dwellings, you still hunt for those ancestral uniques and mythics. The endgame hasn't changed, but it became a bit more bearable with the addition of the 4 lesser evils. So what do I think about the season? Well, if I'm going to compare it to the previous one, it's way better, there's no denying it. However, if I look at it in terms what it brings to the game as a whole, I would say this is a step in the right direction. Not a gigantic step, mind you, but something is happening. There's no denying it. First good thing is the change of the seasonal journey. You can't really complete it that fast anymore. You gotta play the game, and as far as I'm concerned, that's a good thing. Sure, you can have self-imposed goals, but that can only take you so far. For example, I'm always trying to acquire mythic uniques that will complete my character build, and once I get it, that's it basically. There's no reason to touch the game ever again. With this change, especially with rank 7 changes of the seasonal journey, I reckon the player retention will be higher than usual. Second good thing is the increased interactivity with the existing content. Like I mentioned before, now you have the incentive to engage with various mechanics in the game, whereas before you just did a select number of things and that was it, because there genuinely wasn't a reason to do it. At least that's how I played the game. So I welcome this, and hopefully they will retain these divine gifts in a different format. Finally, the inclusion of the Goblin event relatively early on is really an amazing thing. Usually this event pops up somewhere in the middle of the season, and I have never played it because what was the point? I finished everything and there wasn't really a reason to go inside and kill a bunch of goblins because all the items that I wanted, I had. But now you have a good reason to do it because the game is still fresh, it's still the start of the season, and it just works really good. In the past, I wouldn't even chase a goblin, let alone think about attacking it, but now I'm trying to kill every single one of them I can see. So, as far as I'm concerned, this was a very good thing to do. As always, there are things I would like to see improve in the future, so I will list a couple of them. For starters, GA gear availability or greater affixes gear availability. I simply feel like doing content on Torment 4, or the highest difficulty, is not rewarding enough in terms of GA drops, particularly when it comes to uniques. For example, I'm doing Duriel, and from 66 items that I have looted from him, because that was 2 full inventories, 4 are ancestral uniques. That's like 6%. I know my sample size is shit, but there is a pattern here. With the introduction of sanctification, that's very low considering we should sanctify every piece of equipment we encounter. And keep in mind, the 4 of the ancestral uniques that I got, I didn't really need. The uniques that dropped were the generic type of uniques like Flicker Staff, for example, so there's that. Speaking of gear availability, some people might not like what I'm going to say on this particular point, but I have noticed we are getting way, and I say way too much loot that immediately gets salvaged. Granted, you get the materials, but at the end of the day, I want to see quality, not quantity. And to be honest, it's a bit comical when I think about it. Instead of having less gear, but more quality, it's the other way around. I find myself going back to town more often than playing the game because the loot shower is just insane. That being said, a loot filter has been announced to help highlight the gear you want to pick up and to declutter the drops. So I suppose that might mend the issue, but in the future. Right now, the situation is still shitty and I just don't like it. Another point that I want to bring up that people might hate is that adding a new class that's OP is very dumb. There is no other way of saying this. I know it's the scheme to get more pre-orders, but it hurts the overall experience. You just breeze through the content and that's basically it. Not to mention, it gives you a very skewed sense of power when you are comparing it to other classes. Suddenly people start saying stuff like, Druid is weak, Sorcerer is weak, or whatever, or Barbarian needs more power. Instead of making Paladin just a bit powerful, but not to the extent that we have it now. To me, it's just Spiritborn all over again. I can understand that people like this fantasy of being overpowered, and I would be a liar if I said that I don't like that, but if you look at the big picture, it's just not helping anything. It's just sad. There is no other way of saying it. For the final issue that I like to mention, I'd like to point out the delayed release of the Tower, which is this new competitive endgame mode for Season 11. This is a big blunder in my opinion. It should have been released immediately, and not to mention they are calling it the beta, so it wouldn't be a proper release to begin with. To this I can say, well done Blizzard. Well done. Also, that feature will include leaderboards, which in current format is absolutely abysmal. That will only lead people to play one build per class, because there is no way of differentiating scores by build, but only per class, since we don't have sets like in Diablo 4. Now, I hope I'm wrong, but knowing Blizzard, I don't put a lot of hopes in this particular feature. Lastly, this thing comes in mid-January. I don't know about you guys, but I don't see myself installing the game and jumping into it when I finish it, and I will finish it probably in a week or so, so in that sense, I will never even touch the tower thing to begin with. So, as far as I'm concerned, unless something unexpected happens in my life, better luck next season. Now that I have covered major issues, other minor issues that I have encountered are as follows. Heavenly Sigils should not have the same icon like unique items. They should have their own color and their own indicator. corrupted essences shouldn't have limit of 20 before they stop dropping from the bosses. I mean, this is just dumb. Why are we stopping at 20 when we can stack other stuff to 99? And finally, Asmodan reputation takes too long to max out. And again, dumb, because people are now going to normal and farming Asmodan there in a form of AFK farming, which again, super silly, but at the same time the most effective. So yeah, this reminds me of that season when we were trying to get to the end of seasonal journey or something like that, and apparently it was much better to make another character and do the seasonal journey till the end to get the rewards, other than soldiering through the content and getting it like that. It's just regular Blizzard stuff. Nothing to say about that. As a final word, I would say that this season, Diablo IV is actually not that bad. In fact, might be one of the better, if not the best season I have played. Mainly because we have actual, clearly defined goals in form of seasonal task. One of them being the monster mash, which requires of us to kill 6,666 elites or champion monsters. It's not that easy to complete, not because it's hard, but because it requires time investment. I suspect it was done by design, and that's a good thing because it can facilitate all kinds of things, mainly trying out new classes or builds. Again, self-imposed objectives are a thing, yeah, but they are not the best thing ever. Another aspect that makes this season good is the Goblin event as well. I really didn't expect it to hit this early, but at the same time, in my opinion, it was the right thing to do. It might have been the case with Christmas and all that, given the specific time frame when the season started and all that. But what I'm trying to say here is this, from now on, should be a rule, not an exception. I want to see more of this stuff in the future, so as soon as the season starts, give us, I don't know, couple of days or so, and then hit us with the Goblin event. Or any kind of event that's similar to this. It doesn't really matter. The point is, more content to engage with means that I'm playing this game longer. Also, like it or hate it, we can now play the Paladin, which is something I always wanted to do, and now it's a reality. The class seems really good, and it kinda gives us a sneak peek what the rework of the skill tree might look like in the future when the new expansion goes live, so I guess that's also a good thing. Anyway, I think I said most, if not all, of the things that I wanted to say. So now I'm curious, what do you guys think? Is Season 11 good or bad maybe? Are you playing the Paladin? What do you like about it? Post your comments below and let's see if we can have a discussion. As for me, I'm going back to the game. I think I will be playing it a bit longer than I played Season 10. Might as well make an alt or two. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But one thing is certain. I actually have fun playing this game, and I think I'm gonna ride this wave as long as I can. That's it from me. Until the next one.